Hello, good day everyone. My name is Catherine Valyaso, one of the reporters for today to discuss to you what is communication for academic purposes all about. And before we proceed to the objectives and the final discussion, allow me to introduce to you my co-reporters to help me discuss to the said topic. So we have Miss Villegas Jomari, Miss Villarin Princess Grace, Miss Velasco Joanne, and Miss Yap Joanne. So we are the five reporters for today. Okay, so in our discussion, we have three objectives. So first, we need to define the term communication for academic purposes and its importance in the field of education. So it is very important to define what it is all about for us to better understand the communication for academic purposes. So next is determine the academic purpose of communication and elaborate how they function. So it is very important to determine it for us to develop our communication skills because in all level of education, students must able to communicate effectively. Last is explain the uses of communication for academic purposes. So let's go, let's define, determine, and explain it. Okay, so what is academic communication? So it involves presenting ideas effectively and formally in a scholastic environment. It is also called scholarly communication. It refers to the methods of communication that are highly structured and generally used in a pedagogical setting. So in other words, academic communication is the communication we use in a scholastic way. I mean in a scholastic environment or in a pedagogical setting. Some example of it are academic paper, our research paper that we submitted to our teachers. And also if we talk about our problem solution and essay. Because in communication, it includes words and structures used to express ideas as well as the methods by which ideas are disseminated.
Okay, so we are now at arriving at an academic paper. So for you to arrive at an academic paper, there are several guidelines that you should know. First is you should select a topic. Selecting a topic is the main and the first step of these guidelines. So maybe you are given a lot of different topics, so you should only choose one or select one, and that will be your general topic, and you only have to focus on it. And selecting a topic is very important because it determines the rest of the paper, and it also gives direction to what to put it into your academic paper. So after selecting a topic, you already chose your topic. Second is you are going to formulate a working thesis statement. So thesis statement is the main idea. So from that particular topic, you have already the main idea what you are going to write on that particular topic. It is your key points instead of main idea, your key points, so that you are no longer thinking about anything. You only have to focus on that key points or the main idea from that particular topic. So after selecting a topic and formulate your working thesis statement, third is your preparing preliminary questions. So in preparing preliminary questions, maybe you are going to have some questions regarding on the readers or the viewers of your paper that they are going to ask from that topic of yours, from that academic paper of yours. So after that thinking in preliminary questions, so you need to find the answers, and in order for you to find the answers, you have to find that sources so that the questions will be answers. So after finding sources, of course, you should take it down and organize your notes. In take down or organize your notes, it is easier for you to link many ideas, or to have to put in your notes. Put everything in your notes. Put everything ideas that you have gathered in your notes. So after take it down and organize your notes, next is the outline your paper. In outlining your paper, it is your steady foundation. Maybe in taking down your notes, it is you have to take everything ideas that you have gathered, but in outlining your paper, you don't have, it is not necessary for you to put it down, the ideas on what you have gathered, but instead you have only choose what's best ideas from it, and that's your steady foundation. And next is your draft. Draft your paper. In drafting your paper, it is not easy because it takes a lot of time, because it needs clarification to have a meaningful flow of your academic paper. So after drafting your paper, you have to revise and edit, of course. So in revising and editing your paper, from the word revise, maybe if you are going to read or to understand what you are going to put in your paper, maybe there are words there, or there are statement, or there are sentences there that you are going to expand, or maybe you're going to leave it behind, and of course you're going to edit. And the last but not the least is to check documentation. Checking documentation is very important because it leads satisfaction for you, for what you have done, for what you are doing in order to follow that steps, and also to have satisfaction from the viewers, or from the readers, from your academic paper, for what are the steps that you have followed in order for you to have an excellent academic paper.
So next, one of the specific academic paper is a research paper. So a research paper can be a quantitative or qualitative, and it consists of the following parts. First is the literature review. So a literature review is a survey of scholarly resources on a specific topic. It provides an overall review of current knowledge, allowing you to identify relevant theories, methods, and gaps of existing research. And this part, it requires a lot of citation and references. Next is the methodology. So it describes actions to be taken to investigate a research problem and the rationale for the application of specific procedures or techniques used to identify, select, process, and analyze information applied to understand the problem. Next is the findings. So it is where you report the findings of your study based upon the methodology used or applied to gather information. It is arranged in a logical sequence without bias. And after findings, we have analysis. So analysis is the most crucial part of research. It summarizes collected data. It involves the interpretation data gathered through the use of analytical and logical reasoning to determine patterns or relationships. After analysis, there is recommendations. So recommendations are based on the results of your research, and it indicates the specific measures or directions that can be taken. Next, in formal writings, paragraphs are commonly applied to organize longer prose. So usually, a good paper is made up of good paragraphs. So a good paragraph has first, unity. A paragraph with unity develops a single idea thoroughly and links it to the rest of the paper. Second is coherence. So it is achieved when sentences are ordered in a logical manner and when clear transition links sentences. The next is brevity. A good paragraph has brevity, while at the same time, it covers all the necessary points. Next is emphasis. So emphasis, it is a careful arrangement of words to give them special weight and prominence. So now, there are different forms in writing a paragraph. You can write a paragraph in either a narrative form, descriptive form, expository, or argumentative form. So first is narrative. In a narrative paragraph, it tells you a story or an event. So the story or event in a narrative paragraph should be arranged chronologically. It means that it is in order or half-time sequence in which they have happened. Next is descriptive. In this form of paragraph, it takes something and makes it real for the readers. So you must describe a noun or an event in descriptive paragraph. Another is expository. In an expository paragraph, you provide informations, you explain a topic, and give directions or demonstrate how something works. And last is argumentative paragraph. So in this form of paragraph, it is when you are arguing for or against a claim, or when you are trying to persuade someone to agree with you.
So now let's go to the academic writing style. Since we're talking about the academic communication, we have to discuss its purpose. So for us to easily remember the academic style, we come up the word fish. F stands for formality, I for impersonality, S for structure, and H for hedging. So now let's go through to its style.
So, academic writing style, first is formality. So, you should avoid overuse of bracket, don't use exclamation mark or dashes, and avoid direct questions, don't use etc. So, using exclamation marks or dashes in academic paper is not proper. Don't use quotations like don't and can, so you need to use it like do not or cannot. So the next one is don't use colloquial language or slang, like for example cause instead of because, and yeah instead of yes. Next is always write as concisely as you can. Remember that this means brevity. So next, generally avoid phrasal verbs. It is composed of two or more words. It is formal to use it one word counterpart, like for example, to check out, you have to say to verify. Next is avoid common but vague word and bases. You must be accurate, must be detailed, and should be careful. So the examples of formality is the week-long power outages use up the store's entire stack of batteries. So used up is a phrasal verb. So instead of using used up, we used consumed. So here is the result. The week-long power outages consume the store's entire stack of batteries. So the next one is impersonality. Generally avoid personal language. It uses the personal pronouns like I, we, us, you. So you should avoid using the first and second person point of view because this will sound too personal. So next is never use emotive language. Be objective rather than subjective. So it is more objective if we do not use emotive language. Next is avoid being too dogmatic. So you don't have to be like accusing someone. So next is consistently use evidence from your source, reading and reference this correctly. So again, you need to cite your resources, including the author. This is to avoid plagiarism. Next is avoid sexiest language and avoid he or she, herself, himself, and etc. So now let us try to look at the examples of impersonality. So if you don't know how to navigate through an e-commerce site, you will waste a lot of time. So as you can see, they used you, that is a personal pronoun, and also these two sound offending. Like the other one, navigating through an e-commerce site can be time consuming. So those who may be unfamiliar with the process. So the second one is more formal version than the first one.
So the third one is structure. Make sure you write in a complete sentence. So it means always have a subject and a predicate in your sentence to make it complete. Next, divide your writing up into paragraphs. So paragraphs, it takes what kind of paper you're gonna produce, whether it is bad or good. Next, use connecting words of phrases to make your writing explicit and easy to follow. So remember coherence and compassion. Next, check your grammar and spelling carefully. So try to read again your paper and edit any errors, and it is important to have a group reading. So next, use nominalizations and passives. So Let's try to look for examples. The economy did not perform well. The performance of the economy was dismal. So, the first one is did not perform is a verb and performance is a noun. So, the nominalized noun performance is more formal than the other one. Next, this is an active sentence because the doer is a company. So, the passive version is more formal. Lastly, we have hedging. Hedging is a use of quotient language, so we need to be careful about what we are claiming. Use verbs such as would, could, may, and might. Next, use qualifying adverbs such as some, several, a minority of, a few, many to avoid making generalizations. Expressing probability, the number of patients will probably increase. So, something happening or being the case. Expressing frequency, acceptance rates are generally high. So, the rate at which something occurs or it's repeated over a particular period of time or in a given sample.